everyone, welcome to another Music Talk Tuesday, and today I'm going to be briefly addressing some songs that discuss sunshine. Since I did discuss a while back in a previous video about rain, or at least songs that include rain either in a literal sense or a metaphorical sense, and so I thought since it's summertime, why not discuss sunshine and sort of the songs that surround this particular topic. Now, the first one that I wanted to briefly mention is right out of the gate one that I think a lot of people are aware of, and that is You Are My Sunshine. Now, this was done by various artists over the years. Johnny Cash, even within the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou soundtrack, you can find a full-length version of this song. However, it was first recorded by the Pine Ridge Boys in 1939, and it still maintains its very country sort of origins for the most part. At least most of the versions that I've heard sort of don't really try to change the tone or really the style all too much. But the interesting thing that I find about this song and that nobody really addresses is the very sad and heartbreaking undertones that are within this song's lyrics. Usually people like to think of this song as a positive song, which is funny because the majority of the lyrics reflect onto something that's kind of tragic. And they'll just take the lines, though, of the chorus, You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. We just think of that one chorus and we think that it's a uplifting, happy song about someone who makes us feel good about ourselves. Well, this song discusses heartbreak in the sense of a man being in love with a woman who ultimately sort of breaks his heart, so to speak. And it is rather tragic in how the song sort of displays this because, again, he still has this really deep love and affection for her, but at the same time there is this reality that's striking him that ultimately makes him feel so hurt and distraught. But he still considers her his sunshine, and, you know, sort of the please don't take my sunshine away is sort of like a way of saying please don't take my, my hope away or my dreams that are really not a reality. And I think that's something that's very important to address when it comes to this song, because usually people think that this song is full of happy and sunshine and, just about, somebody special. Like, we think someone is special because they are our sunshine. But in this case, it's a little bit more complicated, and I think that's really interesting that this song does that. Because initially when I heard this song when I was little, I thought it was just very, very peppy and upbeat. But when I noticed other versions of this song, it made me really realize the kind of lonely and wishful sort of nature associated with the song. It's on the one hand, it has this dark angle to it, but then on the one hand, it still gives you that ray of sunshine, and in a sense that sunshine is sort of a dream. It's sort of it's sort of a concept or an idea of somebody that doesn't return the same affection towards us. because again, we love the sun for what it provides us, but does the sun ultimately really care? Probably not. Um, so, you could think of it in, I think, multiple. You can think of it in multiple ways as far as its full interpretation, but for the most part, he still has this really deep admiration for her, despite her not returning his love. And that there is almost a tragedy to the beauty that he associates with the woman. So that's, I think, something that's very important to note, and I think is really interesting and provides a lot of great commentary as far as a song about sunshine, because usually songs about sunshine are very upbeat and very optimistic, but this one is kind of bleak, even though oftentimes people forget that it is. But that's, I think, ultimately all I can say about that song. But now moving on to Soak Up the Sun by Sheryl Crow. Oh, I remember this song in my youth. I remember the early 2000s when Sheryl Crow was pretty big. And this song was definitely probably one of her biggest hits. I really do like the kind of country pop tone that she has, and this is why I prefer her over somebody like Taylor Swift, because there seems to be more of a genuineness to, I think, her music. I don't think she doesn't feel like she was a manufactured thing out of country that later turned into pop. She stayed true to sort of herself, and I think that's usually rarely something that we see in a lot of uh, musicians in general nowadays. So, what does this song entail about sunshine or the sun? Well, I think it does address the sun in sort of a literal and you could argue, and also metaphorical sense. Because as she's talking about how, I'm gonna soak up the sun. I'm just gonna take in what the sun has to offer because it doesn't cost me anything. And she also offers some commentary on how, she doesn't try to value material things so highly, and she's fine with the circumstances that she's in. She, sees the value in the simple things. And I think, there is sort of a simplicity to life, when you look at a sunset or something like that. Something associated with nature, I think, just brings out the simplicity of life, that life is simple. And the important things are really the things that we take for granted and are really things that we should, just kind of appreciate and take in. And I think that's what her idea of soaking up the sun is. It's taking in the simple aspects of life that are so important and hold a lot more weight and value than material wealth. So I think that was really what her ideas were when it came to this song. And also, by the way it sounds and it just flows, it sticks to the country pop genre fairly well, but at the same time, it also makes you feel like you're in that kind of a setting, that you're at the beach somewhere, you're looking at the sun, you're taking everything in that's around you. And I think that's just something that really ultimately brings out the joy and the happiness that we often associate with when it comes to summer. And it also reflects onto a concept of the sun. We take in the sun's heat, so we're literally soaking up the sun. And at the same time, she's sort of metaphorically also saying, that she's gonna, take in all of the positivity that she has in her life, and she's not going to focus on trying to constantly gain material wealth and things that don't really amount to anything that is of really true value. So that's really ultimately the essence of that song, and I think it ultimately really works well. Third song that I called Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers. 1972, I believe, was when this song was made. This is one of those songs that I almost cannot, almost really technically could not include, or I almost had to include it because, it's so famous. A lot of people have heard of this song, whether they be on the radio or maybe somewhere in your parents', basement somewhere where there's records or something, that's that's probably where this song pretty much lies because it is fairly old. But it's fairly simple in its construction and somewhat similar to the first song that I mentioned, You Are My Sunshine. But it doesn't really necessarily state a breakup. This song is fairly loose in its interpretation because he says every time she goes away, so to speak, like every time his woman is gone, there's no sunshine. In other words, in a metaphorical sense, he is not happy. He doesn't feel like he's in a good place. There just ain't no sunshine when she goes. And anytime she goes away, she's such an essential figure in his life that it's sort of like, again, like sunshine, like, we need sunshine so that we can, see things and, so plants can grow and that we can ultimately eat the plants and that animals can eat the plants, and all that, and, we get energy sometimes hence from the sun, like solar energy, it's a very essential part of survival. And I think that's what he was also kind of trying to indicate. So it could, she could be leaving because, she maybe is working or she's off somewhere. She's maybe off traveling somewhere, has some other kinds of commitments. But, he longs for her, he misses her, and as a result, there ain't no sunshine. So, yeah, it's fairly simple and straightforward. But I think its instrumental construction, as well as Bill Withers' voice, really does make the song hold up, and you do feel like it's something that would come out of the 70s era. So, yeah, I think that's ultimately all I can say about that one. But now moving on to the second to last song. This is actually a more current song, and that is Brighter Than the Sun by Colbie Caillat. Now, as far as her music is concerned, I think she's alright as an artist. I'm not going to say that she is the greatest thing since the Beatles or the Beach Boys, but I will say that this song, I think, is rather interesting and fun at the same time when it comes to discussing the topic of the sun. And she almost ups the sun, like she challenges the sun, because literally in the song she kind of conveys how she found this kind of she found love, and this can be in, I think, a myriad forms because it doesn't really pertain to something quite specifically, although some maybe could make the argument that it does. I think it's still widely open to interpretation, but this love that she finds is brighter than the sun. It's something that's um, it's something that the sun, I guess, can't match in as far as power is concerned, or just the light that it brings to, I guess, her soul, or something in that nature. Um, and I think that ultimately works. It's rather interesting because instead of comparing somebody to the sun, she's almost saying that the love she has for someone is even greater than the sun itself. Um, so I guess she's upping it one. She looked at all the other songs about sunshine and was like, you know what? Brighter than the sun. uh, but regardless, what I do really enjoy about this song is that it is very upbeat. It is super catchy. It's enjoyable, I think, to listen to, and I think it does convey that summer sun kind of feel and what you would expect out of this time of year. Um, and it just feels very vibrant, and I think it ultimately works as a song, and a song about sunshine, even though that sunshine is kind of emphasized as being not as impactful as the love Colbie Caillat has for somebody. um, but yeah, I think that's ultimately all I can say about that one. It's fairly straightforward as far as its construction. Its lyrics can tend to be a little bit goofy at times, but I think ultimately it serves its purpose for trying to present a song that I think um, works for this kind of a topic and conveys the sort of feelings and messages that you would associate with um, the sun and sunshine, and even summer to maybe a certain extent. Last song that I wanted to mention is actually part of it's two songs, so it's tech so they basically they call it a melody of two songs. Um, but the song that I'm discussing in particular is Let the Sun Shine In. And this was made for the musical Hair, but also the Fifth Dimension band or group decided to make their own single out of it. And basically, the song plays first the song "The Age of Aquarius," and then you get into the other portion where it's "Let the Sun Shine In." So the two songs are sort of connected because again it's like a melody. So, but what I really enjoy about this song is you really do feel the weight of this song. You feel its importance. You feel its significance of letting the sun shine in, and just letting it shine down on everybody. But I think it also has a lot of interesting sort of connotations to it, because in the musical Hair you have the Vietnam War and all these people sort of going against the Vietnam War, and sort of the Age of Aquarius was supposed to be sort of and again this is where we get into, I'm sorry, but it's pretty much hippie mumbo jumbo. But basically, there was this thing sort of, I guess, going around that the Age of Aquarius was supposed to be an age of peace and prosperity and, humanity. So very hippy dippy happy. Um, happy times. So I think the idea is that, you know, we're ending the Vietnam War to go into this age of Aquarius. And in doing so, we will let the sun shine in, and we will bring in happiness and whatnot. I think also you will hear, especially within the fifth element, fifth dimensions version, that there's a lot of the um, planetary talks, like, you know, the planets are moving in a certain way, and this will allow for peace, and you know, so it's very like over my head, but I do like the whole concept of the sun sort of representing this very powerful force um, of peace and of just, you know, everybody kind of just getting along, and, you know, not having to go to wars that are not really necessary. You know, that was, I think, really the whole message of the song, was just, you know, the sort of relief that also comes with that too, that, you know, we're not in this stage anymore where we're fighting somewhere, um, and and in horrible circumstances. We're now in a age of uh, happiness. That was sort of, I think, really the essence and the real message behind the song. Um, and I think it also, especially if you watch the Hair um, version, you'll see that there's also sort of um, a badge of honor that they have for those who did go to Vietnam, because they do show the graves of one individual in particular, and then they're sort of singing "Let the Sun Shine," and I think it was that kind of message too of we got to this stage of peace because um, of your willingness to put yourself on the line. Um, because I believe you will see within Hair too how one of the friends, I think, takes the other friend's place, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so I think that that whole idea of um, per, the whole movement of getting the troops sort of home from, I guess, Vietnam, was sort of a a way of saying, you know, let the sun shine in. Let's bring them on home, and, you know, let's not have war anymore. And that's really, I think, the ultimate message behind this particular song. And I think it only makes sense since, considering the era um it was made, and also the, you know, ideas and kind of cultural countercultural revolution that was going on, or whatever, um, also had a huge influence. But regardless, again, the song has a impact, I think, just by the sheer happiness and just the amount of weight and power that the song ultimately gives to its to its listener. And at the same time, I think this song too, you don't have to necessarily put it within the context of how it was written. Like, for example, if you don't want to have it really, if you don't really, and I don't even really think about the Vietnam War when I listen to this song. But you know, if you take it through the perspective of, you know, it's summer, and, you know, maybe you're going on vacation, or, you know, you're doing something that's that allows you to feel like a weight's off your shoulder, you know, so to speak. That, I think, has a very powerful effect, and I think we usually associate that with sunshine because of summer being that kind of time of year where the sun is shining probably the most, and people are able to kind of go out and do whatever they want to do. So yeah, those are all the songs that I wanted to mention for this list. However, if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. I'll be sure to put all the songs in the video description. And until next time, everybody.